ever since I can remember, I've always had a camera with me, whether I was just filming, playing around, or making little home movies and stuff like that with my brother.
You're really big into movies.
Yes.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
I knew there was something more for me outside of the little town I grew up in. So I made my way to Bowling Green State University, TV production and audio production, graduated, and about 2 months later, got hired by you. I would definitely say that it's just important to remember the people who are getting you where you're going. When you can actually tell somebody cares is what I appreciate in a boss.
Final question. If you were reincarnated and had the chance to live your exact same life again, would you or would you choose to live a different life? Welcome back to the As We Scale podcast. The reason that we decided to create a podcast, it's if you haven't heard my story yet, at some point you will, if you watch our episodes, that is. But it's always been close to my heart, and part of the reason that I'm even in marketing, just the efficiency of how podcasts can, just natural conversation can just spawn from two people, and then it can create more conversation and how it can be used to clip up. And so as a company, we're thinking, hey, we help service all these different podcasts and we help people with their content. We should have our own podcast. It just makes sense. Just really to kind of show an example of our studio, show an example of how even my intro, this is, not scripted. This is just me as I am, and that's okay. And I think a lot of people, including myself, there's a reason that I like to say that I'm behind the cameras, because it's so much easier to be back there and helping other people through, come out of their shell. But when you're sitting there, there's a lot of, we have a huge light here. We have all these cameras. I've got somebody that I admire sitting right next to me. So it can feel a lot of pressure. So we do this as a way to live our mission out and to show that we're not just telling people what to do. We're going to do it ourselves. So long-winded intro, but it's episode 2. So bear with me. We'll get better as we go. So in this podcast, what we set out to do is really create a space. I'm just a very curious person, and I feel like I'm learning every day. And so the idea is we're going to bring on entrepreneurs, leaders, creatives, anyone really that has a passion around this field, around business, because personally, I feel like we were just talking about it today. There's the time in my day is becoming less and less and less.
Yeah.
And so to create an excuse to sit down across somebody who I can learn from, for me, is a win. But then maybe anyone that's watching could also learn from this. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the purpose of our podcast is obviously we want to show you our space. And if you want to use it, visit our website, aswescale.com. And you can book it, you can use it, we can customize it. That's part 1. Part 2 is I want to find a way to continue to edify myself, learn, and do things like that. So I did this last episode with Cam, and so I'm going to do the same thing with you. Okay. So Shane was actually my first creative hire years ago. We met through an interview process, connected over Chipotle, yes, of all things. And what started as a job turned into a long-term partnership, and now you're a pivotal member on our team. So in this episode, I think we're going to talk about your experience both in leadership when you were in Chipotle, and I think you also, because of that, have a unique perspective on being part of companies where culture, on the outside might look really strong, but how important it is to maintain culture. And we're not taking any digs, but just highlighting the importance of what does that look like as you're building, especially we're a startup, and building that. And I don't have this in here, but I just want to shout out Shane is an incredible creative. When we were originally talking about him working with us, he was helping us part-time because we were stretched. Cam and I, we were stretched, but he was helping us out with it. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if this is it. I think I'm going to go back into the field and just kind of get a normal job so that I can get off at a certain time and be able to enjoy my weekends, play some golf, which we'll get into. And that was kind of that was how the conversation started. And to me, I was like, man, you're such a talented creative. And to like, I mean, I just watched like a handful of your videos just now. And I'm like, man, that would be such a loss for anybody else that potentially could get your work. I was like, I really do think you can do something you're passionate about and make money doing it. And it can be your job and you could still get the work-life balance. And so fortunately, after some thinking, he decided he's going to, at least for now, give it a shot. And hopefully he's not regretting that decision. But I do, man. I think you're an incredibly talented editor and a great addition to the team. And I know Cam and I are like really honored to be working alongside you. So I'm looking forward to this episode, dude.
Yeah, dude. Well, I appreciate it.
So I've been talking for now probably, I have a timer, 5 minutes straight. So why don't you introduce yourself? Just kind of tell us who you are to somebody who might not know you. Tell us something about like your creative journey that may be abnormal or just fun, and why you decided to make that decision, maybe.
For sure. Well, my name is Shane, as he said numerous times, and about me, I grew up in a very small town, very farm town, I would say. So, just the idea of already just even growing up, like knowing I didn't really want to be stuck there the rest of my life. And the things I was entertained with were not really the traditional things around the area I grew up with and stuff. Like I didn't really enjoy like being super outdoorsy and hunting and stuff like that, and I don't know, going out and about, going to truck pulls. If anybody knows what that is, if you do, I apologize. If you don't, I'm not going to explain it because it's not that fun if you're not into it. But things like that and stuff. And so I was like, I don't know. There's all growing up, I was like, I knew there was something more for me outside of the little town I grew up in. So I eventually made my way to Bowling Green State University, and I went on and off of school for a little bit and stuff like that. Went to a school in Dayton for a little bit, tried trade school, which was very much aligned with like TV production and kind of like audio production, and learned a lot of skills from that and picked up some stuff from Bowling Green. Life happened, took a break from school for a little bit. A couple years happened, and then finally fast tracking back to 2023, I finished the last year and a half I had at Bowling Green, and with that graduated, and about 2 months later got hired by you. So that was great, and kind of started our journey of where we're at now. But yeah, video editing, I've just always kind of had a passion for it. One of the big things I've had in life, or like watching movies and stuff like that, is a big joy of mine. I'm a big movie collector, big into physical media collecting and stuff like that. And ever since I can remember, I've always kind of had a camera with me and stuff. And whether I was just filming, playing around, or making little home movies and stuff like that with my brother and stuff. So very much my editing started out when I was younger. Like if anybody would remember Windows Movie Maker or iMovie, the first like 2 free video editing, I feel like publicly available things where you didn't have to pay for and stuff, because they kind of just came with your computer. Started messing around with those, and yeah, I just kept growing from there. And I don't know, I've never really had anything that's really been like a designated kind of destination career-wise in my life. I've never had anything like coming out of high school and like, oh, like I want to do this. Like I was part of a very probably big population that just didn't know what to do after high school, and kind of just jumped into something that sounded either good, fun, would make you a lot of money in the future, something like that, or the people who had, interests that led them into a career, like a lot of, sports management things and stuff like that, whether it's that or I don't know, like people in the medical field and stuff like that. But for me, I just never really had anything that stood out for what I really wanted to do. And so video editing was always kind of just like a hobby and just something fun I would do. And I knew I wanted to do something in that field. This is why I went to Bowling Green, because they have a very good video production program. And so just got to learn a whole bunch of good stuff from that and everything. And kind of just bounced around from jobs until eventually going back to school and graduating and getting hired where you brought me in at. And yeah, I guess other than that, as far as my editing history, the rest is still to be untold. So
yeah, and we're still building that. So one of the things that I'm sure anybody that's met you probably would know, but some people that haven't, you're really big into movies.
Yes.
Like really big. Like like if somebody named a reference and didn't say what the movie was from, I have a, like, if I was going to bet on anybody, if I had to bring somebody to that competition, you would be the guy I would choose.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Which I think what another cool thing is, like, that's another connection that to some degree you and Cam have, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
But you have, I know that you have a really strong VHS collection as well as, is it Blu-ray?
Yeah, everything. Well, not everything in physical media collection, but yeah, from VHS to Blu-ray and like 4K. But I don't know, like for some reason DVDs don't do it for me. So
yeah, it's something about like that massive tape that we used to do. Do you ever have one of those TVs that they had like the VCR built into it?
100%.
Like the small ones,
Yeah,
and you'd
yeah.
be watching, like, I feel like the reason my eyesight's bad is partially because I was like sitting in like this close to one of them TVs.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It'll happen though. But yeah, no, I'm actually on a hunt for one of those to come across it out in the wild, as I say, out vintage shopping and stuff, to find a nice CRT TV that has a VHS built into it.
With like the two like connectors, so you could like still connect your whatever gaming
Hook
system.
up my Nintendo 64 or something.
That's it. Do you feel like have you always been that passionate about movies?
Yeah, I would say like I mentioned, like growing up, I'm never have really been into watching or playing sports aside from the last 3 years ago after picking up golf. But other than that, I've never really been much into sports and stuff. It's just, I've never had anybody really to get me into it, and it's just never been something that's like grabbed my attention. So yeah, I've always been much more of a movie watcher, TV watcher, and then I don't really know what actually started the whole aspect of just buying movies and stuff, because I know some people, it's weird to me to think that there's definitely people who don't own physical movies and stuff like that. Like there's people in the world that just don't care about movies like that. They'll just watch TV and stuff. Yeah, especially with streaming and stuff now. But yeah, no, I started out just probably getting them for presents and stuff like that, birthdays. And when my brother and I were younger, he's a big movie collector as well. But we had this rule when we were younger, mainly because we didn't have like our own money to spend on movies and stuff. But essentially, neither of us could own the same movie. So then we got into a whole big thing of over the years growing up where we would trade movies and stuff like that. So it became very much like, I don't know if commodity is the right word or not, but like he would have something really good, say like, I don't know, the Star Wars saga and stuff like that. And so I would have to come up with something for my collection that's worth
just as good,
that amount, or maybe throw something extra. And it's like, hey, I'll trade you these movies if you give me that and stuff.
That's
and
fun.
So yeah, it became a big like kind of back and forth game. It's like, oh, we even got down to the point of like, if a movie was like being a new trailer got released, we're like, oh well, that's on my list. Like I'm buying that when it comes out.
You have to like bid on it, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
Awesome.
But
that's
then
fun.
once we got older and we started getting, some income ourselves, and I was like, well, this is dumb. I was like, I'm just going to start buying mine. And then it kind of the trading kind of died off, and it kind of just took off from there. And now it's just, if I have free time where I have nothing else to do, but I feel like shopping, like I'll go to, they have a couple around Toledo, but just like used video stores and stuff like that, where they sell physical media, whether it's, movies and music, like vinyl records and stuff like that. So if anything, I'll be out there antique shopping and stuff, just trying to come across those rare VHS that are
nice,
that are still out there, and people can look at it and they're like, oh, it's a piece of cardboard, but people who know would potentially pay I don't know, a few $100s for certain tapes and stuff.
Just collectibles.
I mean, it is. It's any world of collectibles. Like if you're not into it, you're not going to get it. But if you are into it, then you'll do what you'll do what you need to get what you want. Because I tell my wife too, my big holy grail is Star Wars Episode 3 on VHS, because right around the time era, I believe it was the year of 2025, or not 2005, sorry, 20 years ago, where VHS, like that was the last year where they like stopped producing them and stuff like that. And that was the year that Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith came out in theaters and stuff like that, which is probably one of my favorite Star Wars movies because it's so iconic. But with that, it was like very limited produced, and I don't even think that, or I know they didn't produce any physical copies in the United States. They were only formed overseas and stuff like that and created overseas. So like if you do find them on eBay, like they're pretty pricey. I've seen ones for like $500 and stuff like that, which I don't have the money to spend on that. If I did, it was nothing, then I would buy it. But I was always like, oh, I hope I can find it out in the wild and stuff. But then did some research and realized that we never printed any in the United States. So I'm like, well, there's no way in hell I'm going to find any over here and stuff. So if I ever want to get that, I'm going to unfortunately have to pay the big bucks for it. But yeah, that's the holy grail. So
Again, I'm just impressed by your level of knowledge in them. I feel like, so I was on a podcast a couple weeks back that just posted not too long ago. And I was asked like what my favorite movie was. And I'm terrible with favorites.
Oh yeah.
I'm terrible. I ended up saying Endgame.
Yeah.
Just because,
it is very good.
If you watch the entirety of the series, like over the years, I remember that year break between Infinity or 2 year, whatever it was between Infinity War and that. So, but I don't even remember the last movie I watched. So like to have your level of knowledge on that, I think is awesome. Mm-hmm. One of the things that, one of the privileges I feel like of having this space, one of the elements I wanted to introduce into this is before interviewing anyone else, I wanted to interview our team because, and we'll get into this for a couple minutes here, but I think one of the first places I learned what culture, like not like, oh yeah, culture's like, and you hear people say culture's important, this, that, and there. One of the places I tangibly felt what that meant was a place both of us used to work, Chipotle. Yeah. And I give large credit, and I gave him shout out on the podcast I was on before to Rod, who was my restaurateur, or it was like we were working to restaurateur, and he ended up getting it, which he deserved. And I got to feel what that is. And so to tie it back to this, I learned there, like the customer is not always like I was always taught customers always right, customers always right, customers always right, and to some degree, like I get it. But when I started working with him, it was more of like the customer's here, and the team just edges them out just so slightly. Because if you take care of your team, they'll want to take care of your customers or your clients, and so. In kind, I was like, I want to start with our team. So the first couple podcasts, we have Cam on the first one, got you on the second one. Yeah. Because I do think that that's important. So take me back to some of, and we don't have to like go full into it, but I'd love to kind of hear your perspective on the differences in like the creative world and the like working at like Chipotle, where it's kind of like structured. There's like a hierarchy of leadership. Because I always find that such a weird, like it's not like a one-to-one. You know what I mean? So talk me through like some of your experience there as a leader and what culture might have meant to you there. Did you feel like it was the same for you?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it's funny thinking back about Chipotle because I started there in fall of 2014, and by the time I was officially done, it was actually like the day before I started working with you for the first time. But I was on and off a few years, but no, it was great when it started out. Like it's funny to see where it was to where it is now because yeah, the definitely the culture is just different from being in there. Cause like I learned so much from that job on just how to be like, not so much, just how to work like in a restaurant setting and stuff, but it was the first place I was ever really like a manager and stuff, and just having the responsibility of that, of like teaching other people and stuff. And I got a lot out of it, especially, the biggest thing, I met my wife there and stuff, which was great.
It's important.
And, but yeah, no, it's definitely different working there and working like kind of in the creative field, kind of like you said, because yeah, you can kind of have the same things of like culture, like treating like your team, like, properly and everything, and making sure they're all taken care of. And then same thing in the editing side of world, like in the creative world that we're in, you want to make sure that your people are always taken care of, because obviously if they're happy and, enjoying where they're at, they're going to be doing great work and things like that. And when I was at Chipotle, that was something I tried to do. Being a manager was always taking care of my team that was on for the shift that day and everything, and making sure that if any issues were to happen, to come up and everything throughout the day, I would either fix them myself, which you're supposed to teach the others how to fix it. But, making sure that whatever the issue was, that it was fixed, and like teaching everybody how to take care of it the next time and stuff like that, or like what to look out for and stuff. And just being able to have like the freedom to be in the restaurant and like not be like in control, but like just personally being looked at as like somebody important and stuff, because there were so many times where as the years would go on, like new people would come in, like you would see different styles of managers coming in and stuff like that, like work ethic and everything. And just kind of comparing like myself to other people who would come in and everything like that, like knowing that it was nice hearing from like employees saying like, you know, like, oh, I'm great. I'm happy you're here and stuff because we know things are going to be taken care of and stuff like that. Because like you care, you want to make sure that, you know, the restaurant's good, the food's good, that everyone's taken care of, the customers are happy. And then, you know, the night shift comes in and then it's a different manager and everybody's just upset. People don't want to be there. People will call off purposely to just ignore, to not be working with them and everything like that. And so I feel like it's very important to, you know, hold that position of like authority and like actually do what you're supposed to and stuff like that. And so I always kind of tie that into, again, myself of trying to always give above and beyond and everything like that. Like just earlier today, I turned in that project and stuff. And you were saying like, your expectation was here. Like I'm all the way up here and stuff like, because like, I just turned it in like, all right, this seems really good to me. And then turning it in and then finding out like, you could have done a lot less and I still would have been very, very happy with it and stuff. So like finding an even you know, like a baseline of that, even like knowing that I do really good work and like, it's nice hearing that like, you know, it's appreciated and stuff. And sometimes I'm putting so much work into it when I don't even have to be.
Yeah. No, and again, I think that goes again to the incredible talent you have and the pride in your work, right? I think that's one thing that translates from the field that we were in, which is like retail or restaurant and customer service kind of oriented. And the pride of our work there translated into our team feeling like that they felt cared for and appreciated. And now it comes with its you know, its ups and downs, right? Like the amount of pride you have in work means you're maybe a little bit more, at least from my experience, sensitive to people's critique of it, right? But I think that that's something that I notice of like I take pride in what I do, and I think part of it's like the integrity component, but the other part's like going there like that, the definitions that they like, the intentionality behind their definitions is crazy. Like I still remember to create a team of top performers empowered with high standards. Yeah, I'm mad that's still in my head. Any Chipotle people out there back in the Monty days know what I'm talking about. But anyways, like top performer had like different definitions, so you could like identify them, and that I think how much they went into detail really aligned with me because I'm a practical person. Like cool culture, but what does it mean? How do we actually present that and show that? And you know, I think I've been a part of company like I was spoiled. I was part of a company where I was working with somebody who I knew cared more about me than the business. And as a result, I wanted him to succeed. Right. And I think that was the whole team. You know what I mean? And like the people that weren't on board with that were the bad eggs and they found their way out. Right. And ever since I left that, I was chasing that again. And I was trying to emulate that in my own way as best as I could. And I feel like I know we've both been a part of different positions where it feels like, you know, these different terms are thrown out there, but where's the practicality in it? So from your perspective, which we have shared perspectives on, like being in management and also being like on the front lines. So what are ways that you think, because for me, as like a small business owner, which is a weird thing to say, because again, I feel like it's like I really do feel like it's like the only difference between a small business owner and like a, what is it called? Like a gig, not gig, but a freelancer is that you have a team. That's in my mind, that's the difference. And so like, yeah, I might own the business, but I wouldn't be doing it unless you were here and Cam was here and stuff like that. So as a small business owner, I'm always still trying to like improve. I mean, Jamie and I right now are going through 7 Habits of Highly Effective People because she's trying to improve in her vocation. And I'm just consistently trying to like, how do I keep sharpening this? Because I want what we're describing. Right. So for anyone out there that might be in a position similar to mine, who like they have the opportunity to bring some people on, maybe they've never done that before. Or maybe they're people that have multi-million-dollar companies that need a refresher, maybe of how to stay aligned with these definitions. I know that's a very loaded question, but what does that look like to you from a middle management, which we both shared in like Chipotle? What does that feel like in that position? What does it feel like when you're joining in on that like front line?
I mean, excuse me. I would definitely say that that it's just, you know, in important to like remember the people who are getting you where you're going and stuff like that. So again, whether it's going back to Chipotle, something like that, even if it's looking at it as a small thing, is just getting through the day and stuff like that. Like you can't run the restaurant with just yourself and stuff like that, no matter how much you think you could or don't trust other people to do it and stuff like that. But that's why you hire a team of like people that you trust to get it done and everything like that. And so being on like the forefront of it and like being, I guess, if you say that lower position, like being the person who's out there on the front line, you know, working, making the food and everything like that, to me, I look for as someone who's, if they're leading the shift, they're like actually like out and present, you know, making it aware that yes, they're here, they're doing their stuff, but they also appreciate what you're doing and stuff like that. So it's not just like there were over the years of working at Chipotle and stuff, there'd be times where I'd be at a different restaurant helping out, or like their manager would just be sitting in the office all day or something like that when the front line's like burning down or something like that. And it's like, it's more about just like being aware of like, again, like being aware of your team and like not letting them just take the brunt of everything. And then you just, you know, take the paycheck and go home and stuff because you're like, well, I'm the GM. So like I've done my job to get to where I'm at and stuff. So I'm just going to watch you guys do everything now. Yeah, exactly. And like, there's always room to learn and everything like that. And again, there's always this, again, Chipotle, there's always room for opportunity about different things and stuff like that. So I'd always appreciate when people would like, not even have to go the extra mile, but just like be present and like respectful of like the people who are around you and like helping you get to where you need to be going. And even looking as myself, when I was in management at Chipotle, I took the things I was looking for as manager and then was doing that way. If I would still like ask anybody who I was, when I was really into the management, the role of Chipotle and stuff, like I hated being in the office. Like there was so much stuff to do, whether it was just cleaning the restaurant or like keeping the front looking nice or like the dining room or anything like that. Like there was always something to do. And whether it was just being bored, because I was very much there was with Chipotle as it got on and on, unfortunately, sadly, the culture really went away from what it was to the point where it kind of just had that feeling of like kind of like a normal fast food place where they're putting all the job positions out there and just hiring the first person who comes to it and stuff instead of like taking the time to like vet people out and
those
stuff.
20 characteristics. You remember those?
Exactly.
Oh my, dude, there's so much mental.
I believe it was 13 actually.
You're right. Sorry. 13.
But,
that's it. 13.
Because they had the 13,
Infectiously
13
enthusiastic. I remember that one. Yes, that's
but
right.
Stuff like, and that's, which I would imagine like whether internally or if you thinking about that, but like even in bringing on me and Cameron into this and stuff like that, it's just obviously you knew us both beforehand, but running people under those, like that vetting process of like, not just hiring them to fill a position or something like that. Like, oh yeah, like right now we're experiencing like not burnout, but we have a lot of work on our plate and stuff and trying to bring somebody on to just help us. We're not just going to grab the first person that kind of comes in and applies and everything. We want to make sure that
Can we push on that a little bit more? Because I think that's such a big thing. Like that when people feel that tension point, they're like, I just need help, and they'll do that.
Yeah.
So let's lean into that for a second. So how important as like a team member? So let's say like obviously in my position, I'm worried that I'm not giving you support. So I know that there's other people that probably relate to that. So they're like, okay, cool, I'm going to hire somebody.
Right.
But sometimes they'll hire somebody and that does more harm than good. And so how important is like the discernment of like bringing people on like first? Like would you rather, let me put it this way, would you rather like white knuckle a little bit longer and have to grind a little bit more until the right person's found? Or would you rather just like have some of the work just fulfilled?
Oh, I mean, again, depending on how intense and serious the workload became, but
Sure.
overall, like I would always prefer to have somebody that, whether if they're going to be at like our level or not, or close to it, like they could have like no real editing experience at all. And if they have the heart and the drive to learn and want to help out and just be there every day and do whatever they can to do and everything, like I would happily take that person over somebody who maybe really knows editing, but has just like just kind of poor attitude about stuff or something like that. Like I would rather have somebody who's going to come in and help like long-term type stuff and take things off our plate that we're not going to have to necessarily like worry about, that they're just coming in to fill a position, but they're happy to be here. They care about what they're doing. Like, and they really want to learn some new things and stuff like that. And so I think and the example of just bringing somebody on to fill a position, I don't necessarily really like those ideas because in the end, like it might work out. You never know. They might be really good and awesome and just, kill it at the job that they're being hired for, or it's just a Band-Aid and, you might have to teach them a little here and there and stuff. They might catch on and take some time. But if they're just essentially here for the paycheck, the next time something good comes along, they might just jump and skip to the next job or something like that. Right. So trying to find, people who, like, again, not so much necessarily need to have like all the hard learned skills that we have and everything, but at least have the drive to want to learn. And, it's essentially, they're just not going to drag us down in the future with hiring the wrong person, essentially.
Yeah, it's a lot of alignment with, I mean, in some cases too, like the different, again, I don't know if I learned this at Chipotle, but like understanding different leadership styles and personality types. Like if you hire just like using DISC as an example, I don't know if you're familiar with the DISC personality, but if you just hire a bunch of Ds, like you might be going up like a million miles an hour, but everybody's just like pounding each other versus like you need your kind of like cheerleader type people that are like going to be happy no matter what. It might be annoying, but those people are the ones that like in hard times get you through it, right? You need the people that are like, wait, hold on. I know you want to go there, but like what's the roadmap, right? So like there's a whole like nuance to bringing people on the team to begin with. And, there's something to be said also about bringing on friends or family and what that introduces as well. And speaking of which, so I'm on the flip side of this. So as an entrepreneur, like, and I know you guys experience this because I'm always like this, and I think it's ADHD mixed with entrepreneurship, and I think finally my ADHD is like, finally you're letting us like, I imagine it's crazy people in my head apparently, but they're just like, yes, finally we can do stuff. But I know you guys experience that, but another person that experiences it probably more than anybody is my wife. And so she's on the flip side of like, she has aspirations of her own. She has goals to be a CFO one day. And so she's like kind of going more the 9 to 5 type route. And she's even told me, she's like, I have no aspiration whatsoever to do what you do. Yeah. I don't want to like, not that I think she would be incredible at it. But that's not the way she's wired. She doesn't want it. So on the flip side, your wife is an entrepreneur. She has her own, would you say a bakery business? Or what would be the best way to describe it?
Yeah, I would say maybe just a notch below it. She's been growing it, and she would love to just have that be her like full-time gig because she's always enjoyed baking and cooking and things like that. Her family is Italian and Japanese background and stuff, so she's got both sides of amazing cooking going on and stuff. So
which has to be fun to say.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. But it's funny because I'm not. It's crazy because people are always like how are you like? I'm not that I'm fit, but I'm in a decent shape. But like with living with her because like she's always baking sweets. And I'm like, well, I'm not really a sweets guy. So like I don't know why, but luckily we I don't know switched off on that aspect. So that way I'm not constantly trying to just like eat everything that she's making and stuff. But no. So yeah, she's been doing that while juggling all her other job and other side hustles and going online, getting her master's degree and stuff right now. So she's a go-getter. She's always running and stuff and everything. But yeah, I don't know if I'd necessarily call it a giant business yet. But she's definitely, I would say this is probably her maybe third or fourth year of like actually really doing it and stuff. Amazing. But she's in the past few months taking a break because she's doing her master's online, and with that, her full-time job and everything else, like that was something that she kind of put to a back burner and everything. But no, she grew it essentially from nothing. It just started out with friends and family, and then made a Facebook page, and kind of became growing with word of mouth and just Facebook and everything, to the point where now she's just getting so many requests like all over the Toledo area, some on the outside of Toledo and everything like that. But
that's so cool.
So many people that like obviously she's never heard of and everything like that. And she's done a few weddings now where she's done like the cake, the desserts and everything like that, and brought it and decorated and everything. And no, it's insane to see her just kind of do all those things and everything like that. And then I'm just like sitting back watching. I assist when I can and everything, but
That's what I was going to ask too. What's something people might not understand about what it's like to support a spouse that's building something from scratch that kind of has that entrepreneur spirit that's just go, 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 go.
Right. Well, again, it depends on, I guess, who your partner is. But in our situation, when I look at it, I don't bring anything to the table. So I'm kind of like her assistant when things are going on. So she's like, do this or like do that. Or can you help me, bag them up and everything like that, or come set them up and everything. So on that aspect of helping out, I don't
very supportive.
I'm essentially, I'm a workhorse for her. So like, I'll do what she asks me to. But as far as when it comes down to like, any of the creative heavy lifting and stuff, like I don't touch it because I don't trust myself. And I'm creative in the digital world, but when it comes to like cakes and everything, like my hands are shaking and everything. I can't keep anything still or anything like that. But
I was going to ask about that. So do you do like videos or like content for her then?
No, not we did a little bit, but she would take pictures and post them and stuff like that. But again, it's for the time right now. She's
focusing
not
on the masters.
she's not really trying to grow it any quicker than it is, and she was kind of getting burnt out a little bit with it just because of going to school, and she's works full time for Lucas County Children's Services and stuff like that. So she's
full-time job, masters,
busy
and a
with
business
that.
owner is
so
wild, dude.
So she had to pump the brakes a little bit on the cake and decorating, things like that. And then also our kitchen's torn to pieces right now, so she doesn't really have anywhere to work. So
So you're getting on both ends. You're getting like in its heyday, you're getting like the entrepreneurship and the home life, and then you're having to deal with me.
It's all over and
just ping pong.
I said I'm not the entrepreneur, but I'm surrounded by him. So
I mean, hopefully that's not too bad of a place to be.
I don't mind it. Like I don't think I could ever be an entrepreneur, but again, to the workhorse thing, like I'm here to work and get you there. So
well, entrepreneurs would not exist if we didn't have people with your level of like focus and again like pride in what you do. Mm-hmm. Like at that point you're just a freelancer. You know what I mean? Like again, like you need other people to, like you were saying, like you can go fast by yourself, but you need people to go far. Yeah. Right. But I know our time, like there's so many topics I feel like we can talk about and we'll talk about. I'd love to have an episode where we just talk about like some of the things that we're all passionate about with like Cam, like golf was in there. But I do want to take just some time just to kind of one of the things that I'd like to start doing is having like a section of some consistent questions at the end that we'll go through.
Sure.
So let me just pull those up real quick. Dude, some of these are so good. We're gonna have to do a part two. We're gonna have to do a part two for sure. Let's rapid fire these. All right. These are more about you.
Okay.
So these aren't gonna be like consistent, but I think they're fun to do. Most underrated movie of all time.
Oh my God. I don't know, just because I don't know. I saw they're doing a sequel. Probably no one's gonna know it, or this for the select few. This movie's called Grind. It's a skateboarding movie. I don't know anything about skateboarding. I'm not good at balancing, but it's something I watched a lot growing up and everything. And I feel like it's a very good, what I call a road trip movie.
There you go.
Essentially a group of friends, they're trying to become famous for skateboarding. They follow this guy around on his tour bus and they try to get in front of him and skate and show what they can do. And it's just about them getting into crazy hijinks and stuff. So
Grind, most underrated movie of all time.
Second one's coming out apparently. So
endorsed by
Shane.
Get
ready for it.
If editing were a sport, what would it be and why?
If editing was a sport, what would it be?
Your face.
I don't even know.
Well, think about it this way. The way I would try to analyze this question is like, so editing is one of those things that you could do and look up and the time's gone. Mm-hmm. So think about a sport. What's a sport you could do and then look at it and the time's gone, but you enjoyed it or whatever?
I mean, I'd probably say golf, honestly.
That's it. I agree. That's what I was thinking too.
Half the time I don't pay attention. I'm like, oh shit.
Like shit, the whole day's gone.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I already know the answer to this, but for the sake of it, VHS, Blu-ray, or streaming, you can only keep one. Oh, that's actually tough.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, it's VHS film's just slowly deteriorating over time. So
I know. That's tough.
I mean, probably just for the watch quality, probably just Blu-ray because it's more dependable. But
okay.
If we were talking like,
so you get rid of streaming and VHS?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. Streaming's cool and everything. Like it's very beneficial for when you want, but if like, and even for people like us who can maybe visually see it, but even like physical media, like streaming's nowhere near like what physical media like quality could be. Like even like a Blu-ray and stuff, like they say, like you can put it on any TV and stuff, and like it's gonna look good, but like unless you put like an actual like disc in and everything
that's locally stored,
it's not gonna be as crisp and clear and everything like that. So I've had arguments early on with people like who don't understand, who say they're movie people but don't understand like what Blu-ray, like the importance of it. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna have that conversation with you.
It's not even.
If you don't understand it, then what's the point?
But there's no conversation left.
Go watch your DVDs and we'll talk later.
All right, I'm going to go into our final questions, and these are going to be some of the ones that we keep with every guest. I like the idea of that. So, what's one lesson you wish you understood 10 years earlier?
Managing emotions. Because I still am terrible at it, but having been going to therapy for the last couple of years and stuff, and like not just taking everything as it is, like, oh, like that's just how my life is and everything like that, and just like, stuff going on, but like actually getting to like actually thinking about it and like getting frustrated about something instead of just focusing on why I'm like pissed off right now, but like why is this situation like pissing me off and everything, instead of just like living in the anger, like finding the root of like what happened that made me so upset right now, and then can that either be diverted the next time or figuring out how to fix it and stuff like that, so that way it doesn't keep happening. So
it's huge. That's a really good answer.
I'm proud of myself on that one.
Yeah, no, that one's good. It's the first one too. The first one we've asked. What does leadership mean to you today that it didn't mean before?
Having somebody who like actually cares, meaning you.
I didn't pay him to say that. I mean, I pay him, but I didn't pay him to say that.
As a boss, I've had numerous jobs over the years and everything like that, between like factory work and restaurant and like other, social media jobs and stuff like that. But yeah, I would just say, working for someone who you can actually tell cares and doesn't just care and like puts on that show, or like just doesn't give any acknowledgement to like employees. Because like I said, I've worked at factories where they're literally like behind glass in like an air conditioning room looking at you sweating to death out here in this factory, and they could care less if you passed out on the floor. They would be like, well, get somebody else in here, we can't lose production. Or like, again, like people hyping you up just to keep you around or something like that, or like where they could care less about the quality you're doing or something. Like, man, I love your stuff, it's awesome and so good like that, but like you can just tell that they're like, they're doing it because they want to keep feeding you that to like not make you think like, should I look into something different or something like that. But and you could tell when, at least I can tell, people's demeanor when, especially like when I get like, I say compliments about my work and stuff like that, or like just conversations with people like in passing or something, like you can tell when it's genuine, or they're just like, oh, like I got to talk to this person because I'm the boss or something, like I gotta mingle with the little people on the bottom and stuff like that. So it's things like that, like when you can actually tell like somebody cares is what I appreciate in a boss and stuff. So
well, I appreciate that you hold me in association with that, man. I appreciate that, and I work hard at living that. Again, I think that's important. This one's an As We Scale specific one. So if As We Scale were to succeed wildly, what would you hope people would say about our culture?
That's literally the best they've ever experienced. I would say I hate throwing around the term, we feel like family, or it's a family here, because seems like that's usually the more toxic environments that you get into, and they're like, oh, we're all family here, and everything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But actually feeling that, like whether you're an employee or you come into, say we're multimillionaires, we got levels of studios and different floors and stuff like that, different themes and everything, and whether they're coming in to use those or they're employees of ours and things like that, of just like actually having that feeling that like you can talk to anybody about anything or something like that. You don't feel like walking on eggshells around people or anything, and like literally feeling open to talk to, whether it's the CEO or I don't know, someone who just started yesterday and stuff like that, like feeling comfortable that, we're we're all working for the same thing here. We're not working against each other. So
Yeah. I love that, dude. I love that. Goosebumps. That'd be cool when that happens.
Yes.
You know. All right. Final question. If you were reincarnated, and shout out to Cam, by the way, for this one, this gem. If you were reincarnated and had the chance to live your exact same life again, would you, or would you choose to live a different life, and why?
And it's so crazy. This is insane because I literally thought of like this exact question on the way here. I think this morning.
That's so funny.
Something like that of like when people ask like, oh, like if you go back in time and change one thing, like what would you change? And it's like, I mean, yeah, there's tons of shit in my life I've done or experienced or witnessed that I would love to not have those memories anymore.
Sure.
But then I feel like it comes back to, at least in my life right now, like I'm pretty happy with, I would say, pretty much everything in my life. Like there's really nothing too like hindering on my life where I'm like, oh, I wish I could, change this one thing, whether it's like, minor things like physical ailments and shit like that.
Yeah,
That's not going to do anything. I'm just getting old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Cause I'm a very, the big believer, like everything happens for a reason. And the butterfly effect, gosh darn it, I can't speak.
Yeah, no.
Butterfly effect.
Yes.
And, things like that where, one thing will happen. And it's funny because I was even telling this story to somebody recently they asked like how I met Madison, my wife, and I told her at Chipotle and stuff. And at the time when I got my job there, it was literally because like I needed a job to, my mom said essentially if I wanted to move to Bowling Green when I was going to school there, like I had to have a job when I was there. And that was like the first job or I had like 2 other jobs and stuff like that, like lined up to like go for interviews. And that was one of them. That was the first one that called me back and stuff. And it's crazy thinking that like literally like if I would have like, you can unravel that for hours. If you would have made a different decision or something, if I would have done that, I wouldn't have met all the friends that I did now. My wife, we might not have made our connection in the interview and stuff because we wouldn't have had Chipotle to bond on in our first conversation and stuff. And there's just so many things. So
many threads.
Yeah. And like I said, no matter how shitty things have happened in my past or whether it's myself or, other people's experience and stuff, like it's led to me to where I'm at now. And, like, again, things sucked when you went over them and everything like that, but I'm good now. So.
Dude, this was fun, bro.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, man.
No problem.
For anyone that's still watching, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Again, the purpose of this is just to showcase. I mean, this wasn't too bad, right? Just a conversation.
I enjoyed it.
Sometimes me too. I really did. Sometimes, we went way over, which my bad on that.
It's our first one.
Yeah.
Getting used to it.
Sometimes it's just getting in the seats and just having the conversation, and then you forget like this exists. I mean, there was a couple times I think I acknowledged that we were on the podcast, but most of this was just me having a conversation.
Oh yeah.
So that's the goal of this, is to, one, if you got anything out of the experiences that Shane was able to share, that's awesome. And if you were able to get out of this, like, hey, you could do this too. Like, I think you're special, dude. And not like a bad. Yeah. I think you're a very talented, a special individual. And I don't like to say that about me, but I think we know some stuff and we're good at it. But we're not that special. Like,
Right.
you guys could do it too. And
Yeah.
so I think it's a really cool way just to have a conversation and share something, and it might help somebody else. And I think that's just really cool. So anyways, at this point, my brain is mush.
Yeah.
It's mush. So we're gonna end it here. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Later.